Hello and welcome to the third episode of Discover Nature. Socially distant Discover Nature. And first off, a bit of housekeeping. Massive thank you to Ivana for St. Nick's for sending the t-shirt in the post. I feel properly branded and endorsed now, so that's very good. And also a big thank you to David Bodenham from Eco Sapien, who is, Eco Sapien is hosting us here on YouTube. Thank you! He made the jazzy title sequence that we put into the second episode and is in today and all the other episodes. So, big thank you for that. Pardon me, I just have a drink of Robinson's squash. Other squash varieties are available, although in reality, given the circumstances, they probably are not. First of all, we'll do our usual catch-up. And if you remember in last week's episode, I said we got a shout-out from Argentina. This week we've got a video from Argentina and it's all about pollinating insects, following on from last week's episode. So this is from Martina. So Martina, thank you very much. I think what's incredibly amazing about that video, beyond the mesmerizing butterflies and that giant bee, is just how similar looking some of the plants are. There's things there that look like types of thistle, which you could find growing out in my garden, and they're on the other side of the world. So that is, in a way, it's quite a heartening sight. They're all connected no matter where we are on the globe, or it's a pattern from evolutionary history and common ancestors in the distant past. Or it's both. Today's theme is all about birds and bird sounds, songs, calls, alarms, and I asked you to send in any little snippets you had about birds. And first of all, we've got from the Brunswick admin team, Evie sent us this wonderful picture of a robin. Always cheers me up seeing a robin. And then a little video clip, and you can hear in the distance a skylark. Again, it's the sound of summer, a bird that's very high up but very loud. So thank you very much to Evie from Brunswick Organic Nursery in Bishopthorpe in York. Regular contributor Sean from St. Nick's has sent us in a picture of a nuthatch in Acombe Woods. Now, he's noticed nuthatches there for a while, but he's actually now found where they're nesting. And in this photograph, you can see the nuthatch taking in nesting material. I absolutely love nuthatches. I know I say that about every bird we talk about and every creature, but I genuinely do love nuthatches. They're one of the only birds in Britain that can walk up a tree trunk, and due to the arrangement of their toes, they can walk down a tree trunk. So if you ever see a little bird walking down a tree trunk, you can almost guarantee it's a nuthatch. Sometimes blue tits, grey tits can be a little bit acrobatic, but if it's just walking down, then it's probably going to be a nuthatch. So definitely keep an eye out for them. Robinsons. It's like summer in your mouth. So on to birds significantly bigger than nuthatches. We had Simon and Judith from Kent who sent in this beautiful picture of a red kite. Red kites are incredible, the way they can just kind of glide using their forked tail, a bit like a rudder to steer. Very distinctive pattern of flight, so very, very good for spotting from quite some distance away as well. Perhaps the opposite to red kites, if you can get opposites in the bird world, are the video that Simon and Judith sent in of two pheasants having a scrap over some scraps, which I think is something we can all enjoy in this dark dystopian time that we're living in. And the final contribution, which brought a massive smile to my face, is from Sam from St. Nick's. And she was going to send in a video teasing me about what birds were chattering away in the background, but the birds gave it away by wanting to be centre right in the camera. So these are Sam's chickens. Also a big shout out to our background dog of the week, which is Trixie, and from what Sam says, Bruce the chicken is a little bit in love with Trixie. So that's a heartwarming tale. Here's the latest from Kingfisher Point, where I took out, first on a run, my compact camera, and later walked down there with my DSLR and the long lens, which is, to my dismay, not nearly long enough. So here's some grainy, slightly pixely footage, but you can see they're recognisable kingfishers now, rather than just a tiny speck. So we're making progress, which is good. Now it's time to crack on with the theme of today's episode, which is identifying bird sounds, songs, calls and alarms. And there are several things to consider that will help us identify these bird sounds without even having to be able to identify the birds themselves. So these are 6 things that we can think about without even needing to know a blue tit from a great tit. Number 1 is the sort of nature of the sound. I'm no musician, so I'm not very good with all the technical terms of describing it, but is it high-pitched? Is it reedy? Is it low and raucous? How does it make you feel? Is it the sound of summer? Is it relaxing? Or is it the kind of thing that makes you want to run away and hide? Not mentioning any names. Jay. The second thing to look out for are patterns within the sound. So, are there any repeated patterns? Are there repeated phrases that it goes again and again? Like the ribbit, ribbit, ribbit bird from last week. Again, doesn't exist. So are there any patterns you can see? And these patterns might be scales. Is it going up a scale? Do, 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 do. Or is it going down a scale? Do. Cool. My musical partner will be cringing at my attempts at singing on camera. So forgive me, please. Is it singing to itself quite happily, or is there little bursts of sound and then nothing? And that's also something to look out for. Nothing. Patches of silence might make up the patterns that you're looking for in the sound. Ah, that's good. We could get a sponsorship deal maybe. Just saying. Third one is the easiest, it's the volume. Is it a really loud bird that you can hear from half a mile away, or is it a teeny tiny quiet sound that you've got to be practically have the bird sat in your ear in order to hear it? The fourth point to consider is the location of the bird. Where is it? Where is it singing? Is it buried in the undergrowth and you can barely see it or not see it at all? Or is it perched in the highest tree that's visible again from miles around? The fifth thing to consider is how many birds are singing. So this might be a very good diagnostic key, a little clue to help you separate the bird from other types of birds. For example, a blackbird will sing on its own, in a high location often, and you might be able to see another blackbird down the street singing again, but singing on its own. Whereas if you walk past a hedge that's full of multiple birds chattering away to one another, perhaps they're sparrows. Sparrows like to hang out in groups, in a flock. So this is another just little snippet of information. Imagine that you are Sherlock Holmes. I know Sherlock references are a bit out of date now, but you're gathering your information, and all of this has helped building a big picture to work out what that bird singing on the rooftop is. Final point to consider, number 6, might seem a bit silly, but it's, can you actually see the bird? And yeah, it's as simple as that really, because if you can see it, you can associate what that bird looks like with the sound that's coming out of his beak. There are a lot of different ways you can try to learn birdsong. You can buy CDs, you can go get MP3 downloads, you can go on YouTube, websites, you name it. There's all sorts of stuff that you can listen to and try and absorb. And that is good. That is a good thing to do when you're starting out. But nothing, or certainly I've found that nothing beats the kind of the moment of hearing that bird and then looking around and finding it and watching it sort of pulsating with sound, and that really sort of burns it into your brain, or certainly into my brain, and from then on I can sort of associate that sound with that bird, so I link them together. And even if I didn't know what that bird was, I didn't know its name, I didn't know that it was a lesser-billed warblerine, that probably doesn't exist as well, but I'd know it visually and I'd know that sound. And so when I went out for a walk with a dog a different day and I heard that sound, I go, oh, it's that bird that's green and black. You don't need to know the names of the birds, you just need to know how to recognise them. For instance, the great tit, beautiful colours, white, green, black. I call it the licorice all sorts bird because it reminds me of those horrendous sweets. Shouldn't say that on camera, that's probably libel. It reminds me of those delicious sweets, the kind of licoricey things in all different bright, vibrant colours. Yeah, licorice all sorts birds. So make up your own names, make them as ridiculous as possible, and it'll help you recognise that bird. And then eventually you can put common names to them, scientific names. It's all a process, and we're just at the beginning, and there's no need to rush. That's fine. I've done a lot of talking, and we've gone through a lot of different techniques for describing birdsong, recognising it, that sort of thing. But you're probably saying, Bill, can we not actually identify some actual birds? So we will do that, but we're just going to do it on 3, because I don't want to overload anyone. So we're just going to pick 3 fairly common bird sounds that you might hear out and about at this time of year. The first example is the Chiffchaff. So this is a warbler. It's a fairly nondescript brown looking bird, no offence to the Chiffchaff, and it's a migrant, so it arrives, well, kind of now time and stays through the summer. Very distinctive call. It says its name. It goes chiff, chiff, chaff, chaff, chiff, chiff, chaff, chaff, chiff. We've got a lovely bit of video from Glenn in York capturing the audio of the Chiffchaff singing its little socks off. Next up we've got the song thrush, which is another favourite, another one that does patterns. So it repeats phrases again and again. It can repeat them sometimes twice, anywhere up to 5 times. It can sound a bit like a car alarm. That is the song thrush. That is a great bird to look out for. And if you see a silhouette, it'll look vaguely sort of blackbirdy thrush shape. Got a very distinctive silhouette. The third and final bird I want to talk about today is the blackbird. The most beautiful song you will hear, and I've probably said this about every bird that sings in summer, but it's the sound of summer for me, and it's another one of these, I don't know how to describe it, perhaps we'll consult a musician at some point, but I find it quite a mellow, fluty, relaxing song that says everything's gonna be okay. Another easy to learn bit of blackbird noise is its alarm call. They're very melodramatic, really sort of giving it all they've got, panicking about everything. This gives me the opportunity to show you this video that Sean sent in, and he's been tracking tawny owls on his local patch for quite a while, and this week he tracked one down with the help of many panicking blackbirds. So we'll show you this video, and you can just about hear the hooting of the tawny owl, sounding slightly distressed, as you might be if you're being mobbed by many a blackbird. Also gives you the opportunity to hear the blackbird alarm call in full effect. So enjoy. So that's just 3 birds to start you off with, and we'll cover a few more next week, try and build up a repertoire, build up a sort of a bank of things that are easily recognisable. But I want to set a little challenge, a little exercise to try between now and the next episode, and this is drawing bird sound. Now, stay with me. This is can be quite fun or horrendously annoying. Go into it with an open mind. So what we're going to do is I'm going to play a bird song. I'm not going to tell, well, a bird sound. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but we're going to try draw it together. So drawing sound is difficult, so you just draw what it makes you feel. So you can either do a thing like a sonogram. If it's an angry, you can thrash around with the pen, or if it's flowing, you can draw flowing lines. If it reminds you of a car alarm, draw a car with an alarm going off. If it reminds you of your angry uncle, draw him going all Grah. So yeah, just whatever pops into your mind, draw it. And this is a great way to kind of imprint those bird songs in your mind, and you'll get to know, oh, it's the car alarm bird. Ah, it's angry Uncle Bill bird. It's a great way to kind of get it into your head. So we'll play the song, and I will try draw along with you, and then I'd like you to try this. I'd like you to either go out or just open a window and listen and draw and send in what you draw. Quite jagged, and then silence. It's quite messy, the song, I think. Mystery bird. We'll discuss what it is next week. Send us your sonograms or diagrams or little mnemonics, and yeah, should be interesting. Well, my Robinson squash has almost run out, so that means it's nearly time to end the video, but I've been asked to give a shout out to a special event that St. Nick's are running. I don't know if you describe it as running it. They are encouraging people. Now, there was going to be a dawn chorus walk at the end of April, but due to the lockdown, unfortunately, that can't take place anymore. But in place of it, St. Nick's team are encouraging you guys to do your own dawn chorus watch. So this can be a dawn walk, or you can just go stand outside, even just open your window an hour before sunrise and listen, see what bird song you can hear, describe some of the patterns. Maybe you might be even able to identify a few. It's definitely worth having a go. Now the RSPB say that the best time for the dawn chorus is getting towards the end of April. So this is a good time for you to do it, but it does mean as the sun changes, you have to get up earlier and earlier. So give it a try, and by all means, record some little clips. Send them in to myself or the St. Nick's team, and we will attempt to identify some of them for you if you don't know what they are. So in the meantime, if you do want to be teaching yourself a bit more birdsong, there are plenty of resources out there available for free. Now, the RSPB website is the first port of call. Their little A to Z of birds always has snippets of the sound that they make. So you can use the BBC Sounds app, which has the programme Tweet of the Day, little tiny short 1 or 2 minute snippets, and each one is on a different bird song. And there are now over 200 of these programmes, so they cover 200 different birds. Check it out. Don't know which is in focus. Well worth doing. Next week we'll be doing more bird songs, so keep sending in stuff, and I urge you to give the bird soundscape drawing a little bit of a try, because I'm curious to see what you send in. Have fun, be creative, drink Robinson squash, and goodbye. Pew, 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 beep, beep, beep. It's a song thrush. It's repeating phrases together. You wouldn't know I had an A-level art.
St. Nick's does not endorse any brand of drinks over any other brand of drinks.